My father tried to shame me for going to our school dance with a guy. His jaw dropped because of my comeback. My high school has an annual fall dance. Anyway, the boys are supposed to ask the girls, and yesterday at lunch, a boy asked me and I agreed to go with him. My dad has always been a traditional kind of guy when it comes to me and my younger sister. So last night at dinner, I mentioned that I had a date for the dance, and he made a crack about answering the door with his shotgun. The thing is, I'm pretty sure he would do it. I told him that if he was going to be like that, I'd just meet up with our friend group at school. He then got very serious and told me in an angry tone that he didn't want me sneaking around with some guy without his knowledge. He asked me what I even knew about this guy. He then said he didn't want me to turn into one of those slutty girls who give it all away to the first guy they meet and who no self-respecting man would ever want to marry. That's when I flipped a switch. I like to think I'm a pretty good kid. I get good grades, I play volleyball, I help my sister with her homework and help drive her to her soccer practice. I've never had a boyfriend. So being talked to like I was some love-struck idiot who was going to wind up pregnant because I'm choosing to go to a dance with a friend really annoyed me. Also, I know a bit about my dad's history. He was in a frat in college, and he's told stories to my cousin, who recently started college at a big state school where frat culture is a big thing. So I told him that, A, this guy is my friend and he seems nice, but if he turns out to be AD I'll figure it out. B, I only agreed to go to a dance. The last time I checked, going to a dance was not a binding intimate contract. And here's where I may have crossed the line. I told him that I knew he was in a frat in college, and I know what goes on in those places. I also know the stories he's told my cousin. So in the heat of the moment, I said something along the lines of, by your own logic, the only slut in the family is you. Then I looked at my mom and said you must have had no self-respect to have married him. By the looks on their faces, I could tell what I said was hurtful. And then of course, I got yelled at and probably won't be able to go to the dance at all. But I feel like it's unfair for him to give me a lecture about slutty behavior and self-worth when he's recently been bragging to my male cousin about doing much worse things when he was just a few years older than me. But maybe I crossed the line trying to prove my point. Am I the a-hole? Update, but the more my dad talked about the whole pregnancy thing last night and the more I thought about it, I realized that it's just so far out of the realm of interest. And I've had crushes on girls, although it's hard to admit to myself. It's not super duper okay in my family. I made her an omelet and a coffee and brought it to her in bed and sat down with her on the bed so we could talk about what happened. My dad was out of the house. I just explained to her that I said what I did last night out of anger, and that I was hurt that all these horrible accusations were being thrown at me when I feel like I've given them no reason to doubt my judgment. I apologized to her and told her how out of line it was for me to attack her when it wasn't her who I was angry at, and that I feel like my dad doesn't really see me as a valuable person because he believes that I'm not smart enough to take my own decisions seriously, and that if I did make a mistake, I wouldn't be worth anything to him or anyone. I cried, because it was hurtful. She understood and was starting to talk, but then my dad walked in. Keep in mind, I was still angry at him. And he walked into the whole scene and said something nasty. He saw I was crying and said, "Oh, hormones, looks like someone's pregnant already." The look on his face said it was a joke, but I hated it. My mind went into mean girl overdrive. Granted, what I did was not smart, but I was done. So I said, "Good news, I don't think me having sex with men and getting pregnant is something you'll ever have to worry about." He looked at me. I looked at him. He looked at me. I looked at him. It clicked. Now he's out for a drive and the whole house has been quiet. I'm kind of hiding in my room. Oops.